Morning everyone. I thought I would do a parent and carer update. I know I wrote a brief letter on Friday just because we didn't have the government guidance at that point and we were waiting for that. I haven't necessarily put this in writing to anyone, but I just thought I would update you via video link. The government's announcements over the last couple of days haven't been a complete shock. I've been working with health commissioners around Greater Manchester, the trustees and the MAT, and also the LA in lots of discussions over the last few weeks. And so this guidance that the government have released, for us, we feel that we've been quite best placed for that. We'd kind of preempted quite a lot of that already. And I am confident that we are following that guidance. And I just wanted to take some time to take you through all the things that we're doing at Elms Bank. I know there's been some confusion because of Boris Johnson's announcements on Sunday about moving from stay at home to stay alert message. Ultimately, students are still safer at home, and I think when you read the guidance about schools, the majority of students are deemed to be staying at home, and that is still the safer option. Obviously, where students have educational health care plans, like all of our students, there has to be an ongoing debate between, obviously, the school, the local authority, any multi-agencies involved, and the parents. And with our weekly form tutor checks and discussions with parents, we would hope that you see that as an opportunity to share any concerns, any issues that are arising, and where we can help, we will. That doesn't always mean that that leads to a physical place back in school, but it certainly will mean an increase in support. I know lots of form tutors have done some bespoke packages for some students where that's been requested or seemed appropriate. So we will work with you as best we can in these circumstances to try and deliver some of those outcomes on the EHCPs, but also really the first and foremost to make sure that children stay happy and safe. So that is our way to have that dialogue with you. If you don't feel that you've raised issues that you feel that you have, please use that as an opportunity. Form tutors feed back to the pastoral team and feed back to the senior leaders, so we are made aware of any issues, so please do that. We did send out some questions on Twitter around what parents and carers had found useful over the last few weeks. There was a Twitter poll, the choices between obviously the things that we'd done, which is the form tutor support, the Twitter challenges, which I know have got a lot of press attention, particularly the singing challenges, and also the website online, as well as the home learning booklet. Many of you got in touch, whether it was through Twitter or whether that was through email, and the overwhelming majority felt that that form tutor contact each week had been the most useful. Second to that were the Twitter challenges, and we are discussing with our teachers every week about the Twitter challenges so that there is a range of activities for you to follow on that. In third place was the website, and then lastly was the home learning booklets. However, I do know for some of you, you found the home learning booklets most useful, or if it's not a home learning booklet, it's a home package of support with additional resources, whether that's basket tasks or sensory activities, etc. So we will continue, for those parents who request it and for those parents who we know have already benefited from it, we will continue to provide home learning booklets or sensory activities, etc, etc. But the majority of our work, if you are still based at home with your child, will be through the Twitter challenges and the form tutor contact each week. Okay. Where the school and where the local authority, along with the parents, feel that the children need input from school that requires a physical place in school, we obviously look to see if we can offer that provision. I've spoken to you before about having diminished resources, particularly on staffing. We have quite a high level of staffing that are self-shielding, but obviously we also have a lot of staff that have childcare that prevent them from coming in, and we obviously want to work with them to enable that they are able to look after their children. So we do have a limited capacity in terms of staffing. We risk assess that level of staffing and what's needed, and then we make a judgment of whether we can provide that or not. And certain parents will have been contacted to say that yes, we feel that we can offer that place. Once that's done, we obviously also consult with other services such as transport, the nursing team, and we make a collective judgment to see whether that place in school is viable for everybody. Now, obviously, when we actually get into school, there are some very strict working practices that we follow. And I don't know whether I've overly shared those with you, and I want to take you through those. So this week, what we've actually started is that we're doing a remote temperature check on all staff and students that come into the building. The expectation is if that temperature is raised, as a staff member, they will be sent home and asked to self-isolate for 7 days. But if that is a student, we would be asking parents to come and collect that child. That child would be in semi-isolation. Obviously, they would be supported by a member of staff, but they would be in semi-isolation until that parent could come to school. Following that, we have reorganised some of the classrooms so that we have, if your child can work within a group, the groups are no larger than 4. And that's so that we have put classrooms into 4 quadrants so that we are enabling that 2 metre distance. Now, I would be lying to you if I said that we could strictly insist on a 2 metre gap throughout the whole day. I'm sure that you can appreciate, we're working with children who, need that input and crave that closeness from adults and from their peers. So, that is an ongoing discussion and a learning point for all the staff and the students in school that we try and embed, but where possible, that's what we do. Some children who probably can't cognitively understand the 2 metre distance, we have place their provision in a classroom on their own with their staff, so that allows greater freedom really and a greater range of movement, so that we can, where appropriate, offer that 2 metre social distancing, obviously with all those caveats in terms of it may not always be possible at every single point of the day. That then obviously gives us a logistical issue to overcome because of our physical space in school. So where we're offering places, if we have a high percentage of children that need a classroom just purely based on their own versus a group of 4, that limits the numbers that we can actually take into school. But we are looking at how we can do that just to maintain that social distancing. Cleaning throughout the day. I know I wrote to you during the lockdown as that was happening. Our cleaning has increased, so the site staff regularly clean, particularly all those surfaces where the coronavirus is known to last longest, so on handlebars, on balustrades down the stairs, all of those things are cleaned very regularly, and all the classrooms have cleaning fluids and products within that, and we are encouraging staff and students where appropriate to clean all the hard surfaces and everything that they use regularly, as well as washing their hands as regular as possible. We try and aim for a couple of times every hour, but at least once an hour. That is what we're trying to insist on. There's separate areas for break times and lunch times, so there's no big crowds or groups at lunch times. They're strictly in different areas across the school. I think Elms Bank are lucky that we do have lots and lots of different areas and outside space that children can access, and so we're maximising that for the children that are in school. Staff are also restricted in what they wear, so anything that would dangle or lean onto a surface and then transfer the virus. So things like ties, scarves, hair is asked to be put up. Even our lanyards we've actually stopped using, and we've gone to a different system for lanyards because the lanyard strip can touch surfaces and transfer the virus. So we are being very, very cautious and very, very alert, as opposed to all the risks that are potentially there within a school. For those children who do need personal care, we are maintaining our personal protective equipment that we would use. We haven't increased that, so just the normal gloves and aprons would be being used. Where we feel a child may present a risk, we may look into wearing face coverings or visors, but at present we don't feel that that's appropriate for us, and the guidance from the government is very much that schools shouldn't necessarily use those face coverings and visors, only if they are, you know, very restricted areas. And because we're trying to use all of our space at Elms Bank, we don't feel that that's appropriate for us at this time. So obviously, there's a lot of information there. I want to reassure those parents who are working with us to allow their child into school, because we feel on a whole that that's the best for that child. I want to reassure you that we are maintaining those cleaning regimes and that alertness around whilst we are in school. The other thing that we advise all our staff to do once they've had a day in school is that on arrival home to wash their clothes straight away and to have a shower, and I would extend that out to the children returning home if you think that that's appropriate. It might be that your child wouldn't tolerate that, and I appreciate that, but that advice is there for you if you do want to use it. Obviously, we've increased our provision a little bit this week. I know we've only had a few children in recently in terms of key worker children, and some where we really felt that we needed that input. But we're still only working on approximately 10% of the school population. So it isn't large numbers at all. And that is throughout the week. That isn't every single day. We want to be able to spread our input throughout the week where possible. We do wait to hear further guidance. Obviously, as a secondary school, there isn't any guidance from the 1st of June. That's focusing on primary school children at the minute in reception year 1 and year 6. That may impact on us for our year 6 parents who are looking to transition their child to us at year 7. And so we'll wait for that guidance about the transition and whether we can go ahead with a physical transition. For those new parents that are joining us, we are in touch with you. I know a transition booklet has been sent home, but equally we're looking to put together very soon, it's being produced as we speak really, a virtual tour of school, and form tutors who are in year 7 next year have been notified this week, so they will be contacting you at some point in the next week or 2 just to introduce themselves. So there's a plan for transition as we go through if we're not allowed a physical transition, and that will increase as the time gets closer to September, but also we wait to hear the government's guidance on that transition plan if there is one. Also, obviously, as a secondary school, year 10 has been muted in terms of coming into school. At this point, there isn't any guidance on that. I think the first stage is primary students, and then the guidance would come out around year 10. We will look at that and take that seriously. Obviously, it will impact whether we've got the physical space or whether we've got the staffing capacity at that point in time to offer that. But I will be in touch before then to let you know our plans for that. So I think I've outlined what we are doing if your child is staying at home. Please speak to that form tutor with any concerns that you may have. The overwhelming feedback from parents has been very positive, and I really want to thank you for all your hard work. I know it's a difficult time for everyone at this time, and we certainly couldn't have done what we are doing if it wasn't for the support that we've got from many families in the community. So I want to thank you for that, and I will keep in touch as the government guidance develops. So until then, I'll speak soon. Take care.